perform.
Thank you so much.
You're an amazing human being and an amazing stock picker.
Always a total
I think
pleasure and delight.
our concept. Thank you and welcome everyone for joining us in the next edition of FINtastic Talks. As always, it is always amazing to have you all with us. And thank you for making these talks so successful. And it's so nice to see that all of you are referring, you are sending these links to your friends, family. Today, we have more than 12 lakh people who have registered to these talks over a period of time, who get communicated about these talks. Every talk, we have more than 15-20,000 people watching it live. And over a period of time, more than 50,000 to 1 lakh people watch it. And what I like the most about these talks is the fact that people are commenting. And I wanted everybody to know that whenever you put in a comment on YouTube or any of the places, we can see it. And we would love to answer your questions live. So thank you guys for making it very, very successful and very, very good. And I hope we are able to add value to your life. Last time we discussed about the Russia-Ukraine situation, although that the complexity or that uncertainty is still there, but the markets have rebounded quite well to a certain level, given the the uncertainty, and it has given a lot of people a good opportunity to buy. So the people who have been following asset allocation were able to move a good amount of money from their debt to equity, whereas some people also lost money because they stay stuck to the equity only, and they were not able to sell before the correction had started. So that shows the power of SIPs. So, and this is something I wanted to start today's talk with, that when the markets are choppy, SIP is the right tool for you. So SIP is something that you must have as a part of your portfolio, but also not just any blind scheme. You must be very clear which scheme you're choosing, why you're choosing it, and then you must go after it. Because the point is that, yes, there may be funds like Balance Advantage. And as a lot of our speakers says, whenever you're confused, take a Balance Advantage fund. But the point is, they have Balance Advantage fund which had an exposure of 30% to equity, to others with 70% exposure to equity. So which balance fund that you have to choose is very, very important decision, and that's where your returns will come. And if one person has done something right in the last 1 year, doesn't mean that they will continue to do the same thing right in the future. So now, guys, coming to today, we are very excited to have with us Anand Pejawar. Anand is one of the smartest persons from the industry. And let me say that he spent a long time with SBI General Insurance. He was a life insurance man, and he helped SBI become India's largest private insurance company after LIC. So, so they were able to do higher volumes than even HDFC, ICICI, and SBI General is SBI Life is a fantastic company. And now he's taken on the reins of SBI General. And I'm sure it's already an amazing company, which is ranked number 7 in the country. And it's truly a very, very innovative company. I always look at their products and their solutions and I say, wow, why didn't I think of it, or why didn't anybody else think of it? And with a strong executionist like Anand at the helm, I'm sure SBI General is going to be a company everybody's going to be talking about. So without further ado, let us call the person who's called the miracle man, or person who helped build first SBI Life and now SBI General. Anand, welcome to the talk.
Thank you, Sanjiv. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. I'm really honored to be on this fantastic show that you have been hosting for quite some time, and having me on this show.
No, Anand, thanks. It's our pleasure to have you, and especially an amazing speaker like you. Because, one thing I highly appreciate about you is your ability to execute. So, between us, I have to tell you, whenever we have an idea or we are working on something, Anand is the go-to person. If you talk to Anand, he will get it structured in such a nice manner, and they'll come out with such a interesting takes that you may not have thought about. So I always find my interactions with you very, very, positive, and they are very exciting. So Anand, before we come to Anand as a person, a lot of people here, lot of people anyway tell me, okay, look, they love SBI, but SBI as a brand and SBI Life, even SBI General, the availability is very limited. So normal, the overall, although you are number one, number seven, but your products are not that easily available, and they are mainly more restricted towards the banking, SBI Bank, and others. So just why don't you tell people a little bit more about SBI General now that you're running, and that how are you going to make your products more easily available to everybody who's on the chat today?
Yeah. See, SBI is the main promoter of this company. As all of you know, we hold the logo and the name of SBI, whether it is Life or it is General. And for SBI General, SBI Bank branches are one of the distributors. But as I said, they are one of the distributors of our products on the general side. Apart from the bank, we have tied up with many other banks after the 2015 amendment of the Corporate Agency Act, where banks as corporate agents were allowed to tie up with more than one insurer. We have tied up with many other banks. So bank assurance is definitely one of the big channels that we have as a distributor. Apart from that, we also have our own tied agency channel. So in general insurance, you will be knowing that we have something called multi-line tied agency. So those who sell motor, those who sell health, those who sell property, PNC and all that stuff. So there are these individual agents who have been registered with us, and they sell our products or they market our products to their existing customers or new customers who are there. Apart from that, we have also gone in for a large rural business. So if you look at the common service centers, right up to that level, we have penetrated the rural markets. As it is, SBI has got a huge rural setup. So if you look at the total SBI structure, you have got even a two-member branch, which is in the most remotest location, catering to the needs, banking needs of the common Indian. So that's the reason they say State Bank is a banker to every Indian. And going by the same philosophy, SBI General wants to be a general insurance to every Indian. So the idea is, how do we ensure that every Indian has got at least one general insurance policy that we manufacture and we service in this. So you have digital lines, we have got digital partners, we have got rural partners, the joint venture companies like mutual fund and credit cards. They are our corporate agents, and through them there is this sale which is happening to their existing customers. So there is a plethora of distributors who are available for the products that we bring out with. The one thing that probably the reason why you would have probably mentioned that is SBI General started operations quite late in the industry. As you're aware, the industry opened up in 2000, 2001, 99, 2000. And initially in 2002, it was SBI Life who came out with this company, and SBI General came up only in 2009. So we were almost late by 9 years to enter into this particular segment of the insurance that you look at. But currently, we provide from the SBI General stable, we provide personal accident insurance, we provide health insurance, we provide fire, marine, engineering, you name the kind of insurance cover that you need, and we are in a position to provide you that particular thing. You could go to the bank branch, you could get in touch with our retail agents, you could get in touch with our corporate agents, brokers, the large brokers who do broking for the corporates for this kind of business. All of them represent SBI General, and they definitely come to us for the various quotes that they require. We are quite big into the GMC also, which is the group medical scheme for large corporates that we have. So that's the entire plethora of the distribution, the entire landscape and the products that we offer.
Hey, Anand, I'm quite excited about that, and I want to make this talk very different because generally we always pick up life insurance, motor insurance, health insurance, but today SBI General is much beyond that, and insurance is also much beyond that. And I know you personally are very passionate about doing very innovative stuff, so that is something I'm going to be taking up with you. So, Anand, just tell us a little bit about yourself as a person, about your family, about your childhood. How did you get into insurance, and how did your whole career start? What is the background? Who's the person, Anand, as a person?
Okay. Wow, that's a great question. Nobody has asked me till date. Basically, I'm a science graduate. I never dreamt in my life I would come anywhere close to BFSI segment, as you call it. So, banking
But
and
Anand,
financial
tell us a
service and
little bit
insurance.
about your parents also. Like, we want to understand your childhood, your parents, your school. So, Anand, if you can tell us a little bit about your
So,
parents and your childhood also.
sure. I was doing my second year BSc in way back in 1982-83, and 1st of April was normally known as an April Fool's Day, and that became a big thing for me because on that day I lost my father at the age of at his age of 50. So I was just doing my second year BSc with microbiology. So my interest was in college, in microbiology during the college times. I was thinking of getting into endocrinology and doing research and all that. So nowhere close to what I'm doing now. So it's completely. So if I look back for my 38 years of my corporate career, it's like there's a famous saying: God, man proposes and God disposes. So in my case, it was Anand proposes and God disposes. So I wanted to be in science. I was forced to join LIC because my dad was in LIC and he was serving and he passed away while in service. So, and LIC had a rule at that point of time. I think it still continues that one person in the family is given job on compassionate basis. So um, I had to support the family at that point of time because my dad was the only breadwinner. So I joined LIC in the Yogakshama building, 4th floor, personal department. So I used to do my college in the morning and then go to the office early morning college. So 7 o'clock college to 9 and then get into, because I could not leave science. Science was just 1 year was left. So with support, whatever I got from my wonderful professors in the college, I could complete my BSc. And then at that point of time, the general talk was if you want to make a career in LIC, you should be doing law. So I went into law, joined KC College, which was close to Yogakshama building, and did my law in the evening. But by the time I got an offer from, I not an offer, it was actually an ad in our community newspaper thing saying that Shamra Vittal Cooperative Bank, a cooperative bank is recruiting people. So I appeared for the exam, passed it, topped it. So I got into the cooperative banking segment. And then my banking career started. So then I did not see back. So after going into bank, I was not aware of what is debit, what is credit. So very difficult scenario, sitting in a bank, not knowing what to do, and people talking all financial jargons. So then I joined KC College again to do post-graduation diploma in financial management. So that's how I got into the hard skin of finance. And then moved on. So I went and joined foreign banks after that. I was in Credit Leone startup team. I was in Mashrik Bank, India, doing the deposit side or the liability side of the balance sheet and all that. So quite interesting assignments throughout the place. And then I had a stint in Nigeria. So I was working for a bank called Equatorial Trust Bank, one of the big private sector new age banks. There for just a year, and then we had this normal unlike incident which happened on the security side, and I decided to come back to India, and that's how I entered into the insurance industry. So I think the credit of me coming into the Indian industry back goes to one wonderful gentleman called Mr. Shivaji Dham of Kotak. So he met me and he said, Anand, why don't you start something like relationship banking, what you have been doing in foreign banks in insurance industry. And that's how the entire concept of direct sales teams and then creating these telecalling centers to book appointments and all that. DST channel now, what it is called, which is run by few of the companies, started way back in 2002 that time. Then moved on to Max, was in the startup for the Max alternate channel, because Max was always known for a retail channel, retail agency channel. They never worldwide had any alternate distribution channel or a supplement distribution channel. So there, I had an opportunity to start a very unique channel called franchisee channel, where we started with this franchisee channel, and then with your support and guidance, we started the venue sales channel first time in the insurance industry. If you recollect, way back in 2003, 2004, we approached you and you readily agreed, and then we could start the venue sales channel, which became very popular, and a lot of other companies started aping the channel and copying it and bettering it and all that. And then finally 2005 landed up in SBI Life. Had a very unique opportunity to start the entire bank assurance channel for SBI Life. Though SBI Life at that time was started by SBI, but they did not have a structured bank assurance channel as such. So I had an opportunity, and with a lot of support from the bank top people, including the chairman, MD, my MD, and all that, they allowed me to experiment with some model which worked out very well. We used to call it integrated bank assurance model. The employee of the bank, while doing normal banking service, would also try and sell an allied insurance, life insurance product. And it became extremely popular to such an extent that in 2008, 2009, MDRT Council gave us a recognition. Up till that time, the bank employees were not recognized. Only the agents were recognized for MDRT qualification. But that was the first year when MDRT agreed, and the bank employees who did certain level of business were allowed to be registered as MDRT qualifiers and done that. And that completely changed the landscape for the insurance industry in SBI and in the life insurance industry. And then the journey continued. I had a good stint in the marketing and sales side. 2017, moved over to operations, information technology and international business. Again, had a unique opportunity to start the first ever retail branch for any private insurance company in Bahrain. So that was in 2017-18, we started the branch. We got the license. We opened up the office, but then in COVID, we had to shut it down. But that was again the first international retail office that was branch office, not even a GV. So there was no capital infusion that was done by the company. So that was a big thing for us. So that's the journey. And November, December, my current MD and the chairman of SBI requested whether I could look at moving from life to general. And by the time I realized that there is more life in general than what is there in life. So I said, it's better to try and see what I can contribute in the general side. But yes, overall, I think if I look back at the 38 years of corporate experience, no regrets. Every stage, every assignment was a highly learning experience. Even today, I'm learning the basics of general insurance and trying to see how I can contribute to this industry, to this company, and taking it forward. You asked me who impressed me most. Obviously, for every child, son, it's the father who impresses you the most. So that was the first idol of mine, and still remains an idol for me. So whatever I do, I always look at what he would have done, what he would have thought about it, and what was his. And all that I do today is something which I think just carrying his legacy there. But one person in my life who changed my entire way of looking at corporate world was I had a unique experience of meeting the ex-president of India, Dr. Kalam, twice, and actually having a one-to-one meeting with him in Bombay for almost half an hour to 45 minutes. This was due to one of my very close friend, Mr. Seturaman, who was attached to the Shanmukanand Sabha, through whom I could get in. And this gentleman, this guy changed my entire thinking of what it should be. I asked him, sir, what does a person like me do? He said, Anand, you can do one thing. You can just try and take urban amenities to the rural India. And I said, how does it happen? And he gave me a word called Pura, P-U-R-A, providing urban amenities to rural areas. And that was something which was an eye-opener for me as a corporate guy, how we can make some change in the entire society and give back to the society. And I think that is the thing which I still continue wherever I go and try to say how I can carry on that thing which I have started a few years back. So that's my entire journey of 38 years, which I could probably bring it up to you.
Anand, absolutely amazing. Yeah. From a heartbreaking story to a super success story where you're sitting as a deputy MD of one of India's largest companies. And before that, with SBI Life is a fantastic. So, it is, I think, an amazing example that whatever is the calamities or whatever you feel, okay, this is the end, is always a
Yeah,
beginning. So, all you
that's
have to do is persist and continue going. And we have known each other for 20 years and more than that. And probably I also didn't know this story. So it's amazing. It's amazing to hear that. And so it's also awesome. So also now coming to this, our topic today of general insurance. Now, a lot of people think general insurance is, let's talk about, see, most of the people today here will be retail. Okay, so general insurance, people just restrict to thinking that general insurance is about motor insurance and it is about health insurance now, which luckily people are thinking about. And so, just starting with that, maybe see, SBI has some of the most innovative health insurance plans. So, why don't you tell a little bit about that? But today, I want to focus on beyond health. Okay, what is general insurance beyond motor and health? What should a person be looking at, and how does he end about going and getting it, and why is it important for him to have that?
See, it's a very good question, Sanjeev. I think after coming into insurance field and especially looking at what happened in the last 10 to 12 years and how the entire ecosystem has been changing. Now, when I say ecosystem, I also take into consideration the climate change that we are facing off now and how that is impacting every individual. And that is something which is very, very important. For example, initially when SBI General started, they came out with a product called PI, Personal Accident Insurance. It's very simple, 100 rupees per year, and you get X amount of coverage and all that. And it made a big noise everywhere saying that. All of us felt, why do you need a personal accident insurance scam? Like, the general thing is, nothing is going to happen to me.
Hmm.
Whatever happens is bad happens is going to happen to somebody else. Nothing is going to happen to me. But over a period of time, one could see when you actually go and pay claims, that's the time you realize the importance of this small 100 rupees investment or a 200 or a 300 rupees investment, probably that the person would have done. Graduating from there on a personal front, you look at what happened during the and I'm only taking certain names of places and instances just to give an example. Okay, Chennai floods. The overall damage which happened, which is known or which is declared, is 20,000 crores. What are the insurance claims that were received? Less than 4,000 crores. That clearly showed the kind of gap that existed on property insurance. Okay. Now, property doesn't mean just a house which I have constructed for myself. Now, if you look at last 5 years, look at the kind of cyclones that have hit India. Earlier, we used to feel that cyclone would come only once a year during rainy season, and it would hit somewhere like Visakhapatnam or Orissa, that place, and go away. Nothing would happen at other place. But today, if you typically look at it, and when I was looking and studying the climate change and the impact on India, India is one country where there's a huge threat of climate change. Look at it. We are on one side covered by Arabian Sea. We are on the other side covered by Bay of Bengal. Any low depression which happens gets converted into cyclone, and your entire coastal region, whether you take right from Kerala to Vishakhapatnam to Orissa to West Bengal, or you take Karnataka, Maharashtra, right up to Gujarat, entire belt, one of them is going to get badly hit. Look at what happened in Konkan in the last 2 years. Repetitive hit of cyclones. And when that happens, look at the kind of losses the people carry with them. Now you go and talk to those people and make them understand, they will realize and they will immediately respond saying, yes, I'm interested in insurance. But when insurance guys were going and telling them 5 years, 6 years back that this is what you need to insure and this is very important, they felt that nothing is going to happen. Humko kuch nahi hoga. So that is what the whole thing looked like. Take the case of pandemic. Okay. I was surprised. If you look at the figures of life insurance on the pure term proportion of the total business, and on the non-life side, on the health policies, they have suddenly shot up. Claims have also shot up, but the sale of product has shot up. What does that mean? People have understood the importance of pure life product and a health product, and how important it is. People were struggling to go to hospitals, and still they knew that they would probably not be in a position to fund their treatment because some of the hospitals were charging exorbitant amounts. Okay. So whatever field you look at, still I was looking at some figures of the IIB, which shares a lot of data. There's a large population of vehicles which are uninsured. We don't know what is the reason. We're trying to find out. We're trying to see how you can reach them and get them insured. But a simple thing which is mandatory insurance, a third-party insurance, even that people don't do nowadays, because there is no mechanism to check anywhere by the regulator or by the authorities whether this person has actually taken insurance or not. Okay. So these are the kind of things that happen. And if you look at a normal human being, you can start with a personal accident insurance. Even on the road when you walk, somebody can come and hit you down. You did not drive a vehicle or do not. The traffic has increased. The footpaths have shrunk. People are unable to walk on the roads because sheer size of the population going up, and anything can happen at any point of time. Even if you see roads have improved, definitely roads have improved all over India. But because of the improvement of roads, people have started coming from the wrong side of the road. So you are driving on the left-hand side. Suddenly you find the opposite guy. He should be on your right, but he's coming from the opposite side. And he's least bothered. You are supposed to take care of that particular person. Now, there are some which is controllable. Like these things, you can still to a certain extent control. But what about NatCat events? It's beyond human control. You just don't know how to manage that. So the only way to manage that is, how do you mitigate the risk of losses that you will incur? Now, look, even take the case of a simple health policy. Now, you mentioned that we have come out with some very good products. Yes, we came out with different variants of health policies because we understood that people were not understanding which health policy should I buy. Okay, what should be the limits? People were not in a position to read the policy document to understand what are the sub-limits in the policy, what is covered, what is not covered, what is the exclusion in a policy, what is the cooling period for some of these diseases which are there in the policy. So all these things, and I think the general insurance industry is also equally responsible because we have not done that kind of education that is required for a common man to understand these benefits of these policies. Yes, pandemic has increased the sale, has increased the awareness, but I personally feel that on the general insurance side or on the health side, a huge amount of educating people what to buy, how much to buy, when to buy, and what kind of covers do I need? A family floater, yes. But do you have, in today's world, if you have aged parents, do you have a top-up which is available? If a top-up is not available, then what is the fallback on? If you have two different policies, one which is given by the company you're working with and one which you've bought on your own, can this run parallelly or not? So these are some of these things which I think people have to clearly understand while buying a policy. Sometimes it beats me, even to buy a shirt of say 500 or 1,000 rupees, you spend so much time, which color, which texture, what design, what kind of buttons do they have, what kind of pocket do they have. But when you buy a policy, sometimes you just buy without even thinking about it. It could be a knee-jerk reaction to buy because some of your friend has bought it, or maybe there is an immediate need for you to buy it. But I personally feel, and that is what we train our sales guys, please do a very proper sale by explaining the features, telling them the advantages and what kind of benefits they can derive out of this policy that they have. Once you do that, I think that improves the quality of the sale happens, and also the person understands why is he taking that particular policy. It could be for any reason. It could be a pie policy, it could be a simple health policy, or maybe a motor policy. But if you explain the features of that and then sell a policy, I think that improves the sale, quality of sale, and that also improves the understanding of the customer as to why he has bought that particular policy. In life, I could tell you so many instances where even the family members were not aware that the person has taken a life insurance policy. So it was like
that's very, very common. In fact, for Bajaj Capital, 70% of the life insurance claims are initiated by us rather than the client. Because a lot of people don't even know ke wo hai. Lot of times we are trying to connect with the client, we are trying to get his policy renewed, and we find out that something has happened to the client, and a lot of families are not aware. So even at some time he's disclosed it, it's lying in some locker or it's lying in some place. So that's where I think making the insurance policies dematerialized is also very, very important, so that at least they are all at one place and we know when to use it. So Anand, very interesting concept that you have talked about, that there is risk all around in life and we must cover that risk, and it's not very difficult. Even like a personal accident, and we have seen accidents happen. Okay, whether we like it, we don't like it, we do see accidents happen. And if that person has a protection, then it's amazing. Like, we also have a very basic product we have started, which is a 3 lakh rupee per accident cover, and 12 doctor consults, just for the basic common, just our sort of an entry product. And we are seeing such a great offtake. But more important, that we are also seeing claims. So it is also that, look, life is unpredictable, and you're paying a small amount of money. Even in one claim, the insurance company ends up paying 3 lakh rupees. So it's a lot of it's a lot of money. So that whole risk in life. So Anand, asking one question, that people are very confused about general insurance. Okay, because see, there are the group insurances or the corporate insurances, which are big ticket, big money. So there are people out there who are good, who can explain. Whereas in case of retail insurances, beyond health insurance, जहाँ पे agents हैं and brokers हैं like Bajaj Capital, and between you and me, Bajaj Capital now has started a service where we call health insurance review, where we ask a person to send his insurance policy. We make him understand each and every point, each and every coverage in a very structured manner. We tell him that, is this product still relevant or not relevant? Are there better products out there for you? And if you, or you may have the best product, and it makes sense, because in health insurance, there is a lot of taxation to changing your health insurer. So you should not be very open to changing it unless it's an absolute must. But there are people who are with outdated products with 1% capping on room rate. And they know, okay, look, if they have a 5 lakh insurance, aaj ki date mein, if there's an emergency, they may not get a 5,000 rupee room. The room may be more expensive, and that is something they can't control. Or so it's very important to understand. But ye jo hamara, let's talk about home insurance. Now, if a person wants to go about buying a home insurance, how does he do that? And let's start with a case study only. My own father-in-law, if you read that there is a building in Delhi called Chintals, and in Gurgaon, that building that floor collapsed due to some renovation work, and 7 floors collapsed. Now the people who are owning that property, and my father-in-law is a non-resident, their flat value has come down from 2 crores to zero. So now there is a lot of these debates going on TV, that how do you insure this? How do you insure that? So let me ask you this question, that if a person has a flat and he buys a fire insurance or an accident building insurance, will it cover the fact that some other part of the building collapses or has a problem and the whole building is told to be unfit? Then can that be insured?
See, there are two ways of looking at it. Nowadays, what has happened is the cooperative societies insist on the building being insured. So the entire building is insurance building is what they do as a part of the cooperative society. And the second one is the individual flats. Like, for example, if I own a flat in a cooperative society, then I can also insure my own flat with I can also insure the entire the things which are there in the flat. Okay, so my concept of insurance is, especially for these kind of things, is it should be the replaceable value at which you should be doing that. Because finally, if something goes wrong, like for example, in the case that you just mentioned, the building is no more, so you have to construct the building, or you have to move into another house, so you have to buy a house and then or maybe go on rent and then get the things done. So can a building be insured? Yes, it can be insured. Absolutely no issue. There are, if it's an old building, there are certain rules by which we go do the structural evaluation, find out whether the building is good for X number of years, what it is, how it is, what is the structural strength of that and all that. So that's the engineering part of it. I'll not get into too much details of it, but yes, that can also be done, and that is being done. So a lot of places you will find at least the new cooperative societies have already started insuring the buildings. The individual flats are also being, now for example, if you take a home loan from any bank, okay, they insist that you take a cover to take care of that particular property. So it's called Graha Raksha Suraksha policy. So IRDA came out a few years back saying that the tenure should be 5 years, this should be what it is, and the entire specs were designed, and it was called Bharat Graha Raksha policy. So every loan that you give, the moment if it is an under construction property, the moment you cross 80% of the construction, you can actually go and insure that property. Okay, and that property, based on the cost, is getting insured. So anything happening to that particular house, the amount that is then given back. That's part one. If you look at, if I have taken personally a fire policy for my house, I can take a fire policy and then look at what all things could probably get thing there. So there could be certain electrical equipment, so there could be a short circuit, so all my electrical equipments could go. So whatever you want to insure, general insurance, one thing is very good, unlike life where you only have, you can only insure life. We can insure everything. To the extent, when I was in London, there was a pet insurance which I had seen. So first time when I went there and I started working, I was surprised. How can a pet have an insurance? But pet insurance is a big business in Europe. So it's a huge business. But you'll be surprised that there are some companies who are also doing pet insurance in India. Okay, so even that concept has come there, and that has also started getting covered to an extent where nowadays people are buying personal cyber insurance. So there is a cyber risk now which is hitting you very, very badly, because work from home, everybody uses internet, everybody uses Wi-Fi, everything. So just like you spend more time working from home, the hackers also spend more time trying to hack the system. So now you'll find companies already coming. Some of them have already come out, some have already filed, some are planning to come with personal cyber insurance. So whole lot of insurance things, is possible for an individual. So home insurance, the building is insured, equipments in the house are insured, fire can be done, personal things can be insured, pet insurance can be offered. It is a part of your family today, right up to cyber insurance, so that anything you're doing, look at it today, your mobile carries more applications, and probably if somebody steals your mobile, there is a large chance that your entire financial transactions can be known to him, because you have a banking app, you have a mutual fund app, you have a wealth management app. So any kind of app that you use, is there on your mobile, and that could be done to take care of us. So whole lot of things we can insure under the general insurance. You name it, and I insure it.
No, no,
You
very
only
well said. And Anand, just to summarize for everyone, okay, look, if you're living in a building or a society, it is important for you to get together and insure the building. See, what is the
yes,
problem, and which is not there in Bombay, that you have cooperative societies, RWAs, whereas in Delhi and Gurgaon and a lot of other places, that buildings are actually maintenance is being done by the builder, and builders are
correct.
actually not buying insurance. And that
Hmm.
is what happened in this case also, which is a huge risk. So guys, if you're living in a high rise society, please make sure that you have bought a insurance for that high rise. Okay? And the second thing, as an individual person owning a flat, okay, if you are part of the RWA, you are buying it for the building, then you need to insure only your contents. Suppose the RWA is not insured, then you need to insure your particular house. And today you can insure at reinstatement value. That means, okay, look, there are types of insurance which are called reinstatement value, and this is very important for you to know. Okay, because lot of times okay, these are very technical things and you will not get the claim unless you have bought. So if you had bought a reinstatement value and your value of your property has become nil because part of the property has broken down, okay, then you can, the insurance company will take away that property and give you a reinstatement value so that you can go and buy a property of the insured value in a separate one, or you are able to rebuild that house. But here, Anand, the question here is that insurance has so many technicalities. Like this is a place where there was a collapse. Now the collapse was due to bad construction. Now there was no earthquake, there was no calamity. There was, so can this be insured? Now this is a question where can even a bad construction quality be insured? Because now we are talking as insurance professionals. Now this is where people get stuck.
See, very frankly, at the time of construction, when a new building comes up, it's very difficult to say it's a bad construction or a good construction. People normally go with, like in Bombay, people go with builders. They know that X builder is a very good builder, Y builder is a mediocre, X builder, Z builder, I will not even touch him and all that. So there is a building which is there is a structure which is available, and you do that. That's the reason I said, depending upon the age of the building and when the structural engineer comes to take the assessment of the risk at the time of insuring the building, he will be in a better position to tell you whether this particular property is insurable or not, because they understand the structural part. They understand exactly what is the life of it. What is, secondly, you have to also look at it. Most of the cases where we have seen building collapses, it is more because of the internal changes that happen without necessary proper approvals, or the structural changes, I may call it, which hampers the entire building. So you might not be knowing who is the other guy who's doing the changes. First of all, the building is weak. Secondly, you do these kind of changes without application of the proper things in place, without taking the right kind of advice from structural engineers and all that, which adds to the problem, and the collapse happens. Like for example, if you know, some years back in Sion, Mumbai, there was this case where somebody at the ground floor suddenly removed a pillar off, and the entire building collapsed. Now he was actually on the ground floor. It was supposed to be commercial, so he had taken two galas together. So he wanted to break the wall, and so there was a pillar which was there. He just knocked off the pillar, and that pillar happened to be a weight-bearing pillar which was there, and the entire building collapsed. Okay, so yes, insuring a building is possible. Now, when to insure and how much premium, what is the risk involved into it? I think that can be taken. That decision can be taken only after the inspection of that property is done, and we know exactly how long, what is the kind of thing has happened, whether it's a new building, who is the contractor, who is the builder, and then there are these factors which we'll have to look into it before I can exactly tell you whether it can be insured or not. But yes, we can insure if you can give us the premiums that are there. So higher risk, higher premium; lower risk, lower premiums.
Yeah, but it's important. I think it's a good, important question, and this is something we have taken as a challenge as Bajaj Capital, that we must bring it to our customers, and we will love to work with you, Anand, to find a solution for our customers. Because today you have to be able to, insure against the structural integrity also. Like you're
Very
talking
true.
about, people are in flats removing beams, removing columns without understanding the implication. But if you are on
That's
the 10th floor and somebody does it on the ground floor, it's not your fault. But you may lose
that's
not only your life, but you may lose your lifelong savings also, even if you
yes.
end up surviving. So you have to be very, very careful. So also you talked a little bit about pet insurance. So before I get into that, but I wanted also, there are a lot of questions we get on crop insurance. Now crop
Yes.
insurance is a huge the thing happening, and people saying that crop insurance is being provided to India. And there are so many farmers I meet, and so many talks I do, and so many questions we get. People ask me this question, sir, how do we buy crop insurance? And that is something even I don't know. So Anand, let me ask you this basic question, because a farmer कहता है कि look, if I'm taking a loan, then bank खरीद के दे देता है. ठीक है, but if a farmer wants to go about buying a crop insurance, what's the procedure? And that is something that is not known.
See, normally what happens is in crop loans, now the most famous thing or the most preferred thing is the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. That is what they call. Okay, so it's being run by the government. So most of the places, most of the state governments run it, and they come out with an RFP where all the companies who are interested to bid for it go and bid for it, and then some companies are given some clusters of districts. Okay, so there could be 5 6 districts which is formed of a cluster, and then you get it, and then the government authorities actually give you the names of the farmers in that district with that. There's a lot of things called patta number, so that 712 extract which is there for the field in whose name it is, and whether it has got a bank loan, it doesn't have a loanee, or all those details are there. And the membership comes in, and then they tell you that these are the kind of farms which you need to do it. So there are basically two kinds of crops which all of us know. One is a kharif crop and a rabi crop. So for both, the things are available. Normally, when a government comes up with a tender, it is for a period of 3 years. So whenever an insurance company gets these kind of districts or pattas, it is basically for a period of 3 years. So for 3 years, you have to cover the rabi crop and the kharif crop. A lot of work goes behind this crop insurance. It's not so simple that we look at. Right from the time you get uh, the tender in your favor, you create the entire infrastructure right from village level upwards. You have to be present or know what is being sowed at which place, because in India, at the same time you could have different kinds of farms that are, for example, at one place you have soya bean, at the same time in other place you have wheat, at another place you have chana, so another place you have tur dal. So depending upon what crop, what season, everything counts into that. That huge number of things. Fortunately for India, the technology on this is now becoming better and better. Okay, so you have technology which is available, which helps you to understand what kind of crops can come in a particular place, what kind of moisture will be available in a particular soil in that particular area, which will help that particular seed to grow well, what kind of rainfall is there for the last 3 years, what was the average rainfall. If the same rainfall continues, then what kind of yield you can get out of that particular. So whole lot of, it's a completely different science as far as crop insurance is concerned. To cut it
Yeah,
short,
that we understand. Yeah, but how does a farmer get himself included in that scheme?
yeah.
Now that's
So
a big problem.
in the local areas, you have these government authorities who do the enrollment part of it, and through them it gets enrolled, and we get a list of the farmers with their farm details, and then that cover is provided to these people.
Yeah, very well noted. And guys, I take this as a personal challenge also, because this is maybe a very simple thing for some people, but a lot of people don't know about it. But I will write an article with your inputs, Anand, on how does a farmer get himself insured, because a lot of people have, this is an amazing thing which is being done by the Honorable Prime Minister, and I think this
Yes.
was an amazing thought of Mr. Modi, but then it has to reach the people. So
Many
next question.
places, yeah, many places, the state government also gives a lot of subsidy. So I know
Yeah,
one
yeah,
or two states where the farmer just pays a 1 rupee for his, and then the thing is premiums are being paid by the subsidized by the state government. So different governments have different kinds of rules. The states have got different kinds of rules in the country. So, but a very interesting part. So ever since it has started, it has picked up quite well. But I think, as you said, we still need to penetrate into the last leg of the smallest farmer who's badly hit when such things happen.
Yeah, definitely. And also, Anand, next question is, this is a question by this gentleman here, Rajendra Erani. He's asking about something which which is more related to insuring financial risks. Now, you have been a banker, you're an insurer now for so many years. India is one very unique country amongst the developing countries where credit insurance is not available. So when you're giving a loan or you're buying a house, you can't take an insurance against credit worthiness of a person, or even the bank deposits are of a banks are only insured up to 5 lakhs. Earlier it was only
Yeah,
1 lakh. So
yes.
why is the credit insurance not taken off in India, where India has a very strong banking system? We have a very strong insurance industry, and credit insurance is available all over the world. And today in India, people require credit insurance. And let me take an example again of Delhi NCR, where government talks about home for all, but of more than 1 lakh or 2 lakh middle income people, are poor guys, are left without a home because the builder has gone bankrupt and he's run away with their money. And the courts are just lagging the things. Things have been in, even the whole liquidation, bankruptcy has taken years, matlab, like 5, 6 years. There's no resolution. The interim resolution professional is hardly doing anything, just charging money, and nothing is getting constructed. Our point is that, what about credit insurance, Anand? How do we bring credit insurance to India? Do you think it's going to happen? And what type of credit insurance is available in India?
See, credit insurance is a little difficult as of now. We're looking at the environment in India, what I see as, because we have a product where if you meet with some kind of accident, and if you are immobile and if you have loss of income because of that, so for 3 months EMIs can be paid. That's what is there. But I have not seen any major policy which takes care of your entire credit risk, what you actually mentioned. I think there are two factors into it. One is how the difficulty of assessing how this particular eventuality might happen and what could be the risk, and how do I price that risk, because every risk I have to price it. So how do I price that risk? But if you look at the kind of example that you gave, if you have gone through the budget for this year, the Honorable Finance Minister has recommended that insurance companies, especially the general insurance companies, should come out with something called a surety bond insurance. And surety bond insurance is basically for these kind of people where you pay certain money. But there again, the restriction is only 30% of the total. So if the entire contract is 100, I can issue only up to 30 rupees. So but it is still in a very, very nascent stage, because in India, we are trying to find out how to implement this, how to rate risk, price the risk, what kind of risk, how many guys would be defaulting on that and all that. So that's a different question. But yes, credit insurance, or the risk of I losing my job or losing for something happening to me, I'm not in a position to continue with my profession, which can have some kind of impact on my the liabilities that I carry, is definitely a big problem that I see, which could be addressed. But I think we need to understand the basics of it and how do we get into it. But surety bond is just being introduced. I don't think any company has even gone to file it. People are still trying to understand how to go about it and get things worked out and take it forward. But as of now, you have a lot of other insurances there. You have a liability insurance, you have a warranty insurance, all these things which are available. But the one which you mentioned, even in Bombay, you see so many buildings half done, nothing happens. People have, especially in redevelopment cases, where in Mumbai you had a lot of these slum rehabilitation happening. So people have been moved out of their houses, they have been dumped into some transit camp, and the builder has just vanished. So half done, nobody knows what to do, and thing is just in a limbo kind of a stuff. But yes, that is one area which I think definitely one could look at for the property part of it.
Anand, the whole India is looking towards you, because if one company can solve it, that is you. Because SBI is the largest credit giving institution in India, and SBI General is a very innovative company. So I think combining these two powers, if somebody has the capability of cracking it, it is you. Okay, so point is, and it is you and your company, and we hope that you do crack it, because I think credit insurance is going to be the next big area. If any company, there's so much money to be made there. So it's a huge opportunity where, internationally there are credit insurance companies which are as big as a lot of the Indian companies. So I think there is a huge amount of this thing, and if somebody is doing a good job, then he can get a lot of reinsurance support on that also. So that's a big area. So beyond this, that what we have talked about, what other insurances should a person be looking at? And just let me one thing summarize. Okay, guys, Anand talked about a very important product which a lot of people don't know about. Is that for the salaried people and even the business people, there is an insurance available, which is easily available, where you can cover your loss of income due to an accident or due to a medical emergency. And this is a very important product for us to have. A lot of people will have some, maybe a open heart surgery where they are off work for 4 months. And if he's a business guy and his income depends on his work, then for 4 or 5 months that he is not able to work, or for a period of time when he's not able to put that 100% effort, who takes care of the loss of the income that he is suffering? So point is that it is very easily available. These products are available out there. They are very easily available, and that you should look at it. That that you must have this. If you think, look, I am carrying a lot of liabilities, then you must have this cover to ensure that if there is a loss of income, then you must be able to cover the same. Now, also, Anand, again, since we are talking about long term things, there's been a lot of demand from at least people for long term health insurances. And right now, the problem is that general insurance companies can only issue insurance policy for 1 year, and they need a major system change. But whereas people actually get perturbed that, look, I am buying an insurance, I'm paying the premium all my life, and beyond 60, 70, the premiums, the rates may go up crazily, and I may not be insured. So, what about long term insurances? Do you think there is something happening on that aspect?
Yes, people are thinking about it, people are working on it, but I think in India for long term it will take a little time, only for a reason that I think one issue which all insurers, whether it is life, health, or non life, facing is the availability of data and authentic data. Like, for example, if you go to UK, you have the National Health Agency who takes care, and you get everything available to understand the profile, what has happened, where, how much, uh, what is the amount this guy has spent, or what is the kind of treatment he has undergone. In India, it becomes very, very difficult to find out what exactly has happened with this person. Maybe once we get some kind of a technological advantage, like maybe blockchain on the health side, I think that might help us in a big way. We were looking at, when I was in life, we had done one POC with one of the technological partners on the health side, trying to create a blockchain for health. So whatever happens for that particular person, like Anand Pejawar today is not well, he gets admitted in a hospital, so his insurance policy is in the blockchain, hospital details, who, what kind of medical treatment did he get. So that kind of information, if it is available in the right manner, in an authentic manner, then I think the pricing, the kind of tenure, what can be added, what should be the limits, what kind of reinsurance we could get, all that thing would definitely. But yes, we would also be happy to have a long-term policy, at least for 5 years, maybe even 10 years to begin with. And then, depending upon what is the age, you could roll it over on a yearly basis or sometime on a short-term basis. But I'm sure you will get one of these policies very soon. We will be in a position to at least do some sandboxing and try and see whether these kind of policies can be issued.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's take two quick questions. One is by Mr. Naresh Gupta. He's asking about that travel insurance, especially to US, has a lot of limitations such as age factor, duration of stay, amount insured. So Naresh, before Anand answers that, let me say that maybe you have not met the right insurer, or just call Bajaj Capital, because they have very good insurances available on travel. So travel insurance is absolutely fantastic. I personally take an annual multi-trip policy where I pay very, very minimal amount. I think I pay 5,000-6,000 rupees, and my coverage is up to $2 million. So they are very good insurances, and it covers unlimited number of trip, provided it's not over 60 days. So unless it's a parents who are going for 6 months or something, then it is more expensive. So the longer you stay, the risk is higher. Anand, would you quickly like to add some point here since we are over time?
No, I think you have covered the point. Various kinds of covers, various kinds of plans are available. If you scout the market, or if you have the right kind of advisor, as Sanjiv said, they'll be in a position to advise you in a much better manner, looking into your duration of stay and the other particulars that normally we take into consideration. But travel is absolutely not a problem. You have wonderful plans available for travel.
Yeah, so travel insurance, guys, in India is probably amongst the best in the world. It is the cheapest travel insurance market, like health insurance. India is probably the cheapest health insurance market, and the most easiest availability in the world. Same is with travel insurance. So one
And
final.
travel, they cover nowadays they cover almost everything under a travel policy. It's a comprehensive travel policy. Anything happening to you during that particular, including loss of passport, missing of a flight, everything gets covered into that. So it's a very comprehensive cover that is available for it. So you can look at it, and then Sanjeev is there for you to help. Not a problem.
So there's a question by Mukul Trivedi. He's asking about when you talked about the redevelopment projects in Mumbai, that that when there is when a PAA, permanent alternative accommodation, is signed insurance, can an insurance be taken for the house clause be included in it? You will understand it better than I do, because I don't stay in Mumbai.
I very frankly, Mukul, thanks for this wonderful question. I have not really applied my mind on this, but yes, if you're going to stay there for 2-3 years, and if you are probably looking at insuring that particular, we could look at it depending upon what it is. How is it a transit house only built on the beams, or what it is? Looking at the structure and all that, we could probably look at what can be insured. As I said, we can insure anything for you, depending based on whether it is insurable or not. So,
Anand, his question is that when you are buying a house, so
yeah.
this is more like a credit insurance against the builder, that he doesn't end up completing the building and they are stuck in a property for more than an X number of years. Can they buy an alternative property? So
No,
this
no,
is
no, no. Sorry,
more.
I was sorry, Mukul. My apologies. I thought you asked. You are staying. Somebody staying in that kind of a house, whether that house is insurable or not. That was my no.
Yeah, the
Obviously,
house
we
is.
can't. As of now, that insurance is not available.
Yeah, but credit insurance, this time in the budget, even last time in the budget, it was said that money will be spent on getting credit insurance to India, but that has not happened. And as I said, maybe if somebody can do it, Anand can do it. So Anand, I hope you are able to create a sandbox. We would love to work with you on this. And if we
Sure.
can bring about a credit insurance, let's do it. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you, Anand, for taking out time. I think it was a very different talk today, and it was good to understand Anand and his journey, and that despite the toughest things that may happen to you, you can still be a huge winner in the long term, provided you persist. So I think it was a very inspiring story and a very informative session for us. Thank you, Anand, for joining us today. Any last words from you?
No, it was absolutely wonderful chatting with you, Sanjiv, and I hope whatever little bit from my experience I have been in a position to share, it will be of some value to the audience who have joined this link. And thank you very much again for having me on your chat talk. And I think it was fantastic chatting with you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thanks. Thank you.
You perform.
Thank you so much.
You're an amazing human being and an amazing stock picker.